Okay, we are about to start. Yeah, we are live.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is such a beautiful day because we have two very impressive people with us, and we have special guest Cathy Weaver along with Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. My name is Shara Manjal, and I am going to be your host for today. And I could not have been more excited because I know that I'm going to take some really important nuggets that are priceless, important information that I can write down and go through again and again because it's going to be priceless, like I said before. So I am excited to welcome and introduce to you the very impressive woman, the one that I met on the platform of HNP, which is Happy Neighborhood Project, and I was impressed instantly. So her name is Cathy Weaver, and it wouldn't be wrong to say that she is a networking ninja. She is someone who loves networking and has made that passion into something that she does full time now. So if you want to learn networking, Cathy is definitely the right person. When we are in our H&B session, she would keep dropping these really helpful tips here and there, which I personally take very seriously because I know that there's a lot that we can gain out of it. So I'm really excited to hear from you, Cathy, today. I want to mention about two books that you've written, and we'd be talking about them in detail later on. But when people were struggling with the pandemic, Cathy here changed lives in the way businesses operate. She said, okay, why not go and teach people how to network post quarantine? And that's amazing. That's more of a social service, I would say, Cathy.
Yes.
This is really a gift that you've given to everyone. So we are going to talk about your two books, the first being Networking on Steroids. The other one, which is a sequel which she wrote during the quarantine, is Networking on Steroids Post Quarantine. So I'm so excited to have you here with us, Cathy, today, and I'm excited to see what we have in store. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. It's a thrill for me. I appreciate the invitation. And Sharia, I loved meeting you at Happy Neighborhood Project, India South, India North. I have met so many dynamic friends. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to talk a little bit about my first book. It was published in 2012, Networking on Steroids. And I saw a curious need when people were thinking in terms of, you know what, I tried that networking thing and it doesn't work. And that always intrigues me because for me, you only get out of something what you put into it. And
Sure.
I'm seeing that people were out in the world absolutely pouring their hearts out into their networking time. But all of a sudden they were passing out a business card. Here, would you like to buy this? Here, would you like to buy that? And I saw that might not be the most effective way. And for me, it's all about building relationships, meeting fabulous people. I mean, look at this screen. Sushil and you, this has been a highlight of my Happy Neighborhood Project experience so far. And I mean that with all my heart. I seriously do. All of a sudden, people would think in terms of, could you please come and speak to our organization about effective networking? Well, I'm always happy to do that because I think in terms of, I feel that we learn best from each other. And many times in a platform of interaction, I have the ABCs of networking. A is for, B is for, C is for, like that. And a lot of times we would go through that. And then it turned into, I started chatting, speaking with colleges. And all of a sudden, the students would be graduating and they'd be going out into the world to network to find their first, second, third, 10th career. And the students had absolutely no idea, how are you going to get me a job? Well, for most of us, it doesn't work like that. It's all about the building of relationships. Who do you know that would be a good fit for me? And I love to learn from other people. So the Networking on Steroids piece, again, was published in 2012. And how to wear your name badge on your right side. Be sure and look people directly in the eye. Be so thrilled to meet them. And always 2 ears, 1 mouth. I would love to know more about you. What is the favorite part of your day? And a lot of people say, what does that have to do with business? And I have found that a lot of times business is not what it's about. I want to know what's in your heart. And I really do. I want to know what's in your heart. And that for me has turned out to be relationship building times a million. And thanks to Happy Neighborhood Project, we are making the world smaller. What do you think?
Very true.
Absolutely.
That's so true. Absolutely.
And then we go one step further, one step further. Everything's just floating along, and networking is beautiful, and new groups are opening, and ladies' groups, and gentlemen's groups, and everything's fantastic. And then boom comes the pandemic, and all of
I
a
know.
sudden we're all on screens just like this because we can't leave our homes and offices. Now what do we do? What do you suppose changed? Well, it was no longer the face-to-face shaking hands. It was no longer big luncheons and banquet halls with 500 people. Now we're networking a little differently post-quarantine. So I thought, how are we going to get the message out about effective networking even when we can't be in person? Even when we can't be in person, how is that going to work? And so I thought, well, there has to be a way to get the message out. What happens when you meet on a screen and then you go into a breakout room? And instantly I'm able to say, what does a day in the life of you look like? What? What does a day in the life of you look like? And usually they say, I get up, I work out, I pray, I eat breakfast, I make coffee, I get on my first Zoom call, whatever that looks like. I want to know a little bit about your world. And then all of a sudden, once again, I'd like to invite you to, and then you invite them to your next group, your next group, your next group. And it's the same system, but now the ball is in your court as far as follow-up. If you do not follow up with the people that you met on this screen, you're not going to get a chance to know what makes them tick. That's the difference for me. And so now your effort maybe is a little stronger. The good news that I have found, you know what it is? It is so incredibly time effective to be on these screens now instead of traveling an hour each direction to go to your next event. It's so efficient to be able to network online. So I have found the post-quarantine piece has been a marvelous way, once again, to make the world smaller. Look at the friends we have now. I see Dr. Alka is making a comment in the chat. What is in my heart? Meeting people and meeting them where they are. I don't want them to be a different version of this trainer or this coach or this something else. I want people to be exactly who they are and realize that we're all in this together.
True. That is beautiful, Cathy, and so true.
It feels that way to me. Think about the people that you've met since you began with Happy Neighborhood Project. Think about the people you have introduced me to now that I've gotten to go to several of your groups. Think of the people that you have partnered with in the referral system to be able to say, you know what? This might be a great fit for you if you meet whoever you met this morning in Happy Neighborhood Project. All of those things work so well together when you just think in terms of who would you like to know in my network? Then, of course, we talk about social media platforms. Oh my gosh, how long is this show? We could talk about social media platforms for hours. There are so many intricacies within each of those. Oh my goodness. Most of the people who attend Happy Neighborhood Project events go straight to LinkedIn to check out your profile. There are so many ways to connect with people. You find a post that you like. They just posted something about their company. We're networking online now, and it really is time effective and certainly cost effective if you just think of a few tips as far as following up, following through, and making those scheduled appointments for one-on-ones. It really does work. I have loved it.
You know, Cathy, I like to just step in to say that I met in the breakout room some. Yeah, Shaurya, you're saying something?
Brigadier Sushil Bhasin, I was just gonna say that before we take your points, for like further information, I would really want everyone to know about you because you are the person who has made this possible. So I would love for people to know you better, and I know that you're very popular and extremely dynamic. But please give me the opportunity to introduce yourself formally. Would love to introduce yourself, if you allow me. That is.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, I'm going to start on a personal note because I have a lot to say about Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. He has been so kind with me, and he's the one who introduced me to HNP. And he literally took out time from his life to convince me to join this group, and I am forever grateful to this wonderful man who has so much to give to this world. So, 34 years of military leadership combined with 16 years of leadership training in the corporate world, he has been uniquely rich in leadership experience. And it would not be exaggeration if I say that he has changed multiple lives, given direction to so many people to achieve their goals. Brigadier Sushil Bhasin here is a time consciousness coach. He's a leadership and team building facilitator, TEDx and global keynote speaker, and author of 6 books. That's very impressive, sir. You always inspire us. He's extremely passionate about making a difference in people's life, and I can vouch for that. He loves achieving and contributing to outcome-focused result, and that is why his course, Battlefield to Boardroom, is one such potent signature program which adds the olive green flavor to the colorful corporate environment. Thank you so much, Sushil sir, for making this happen today. And I'm happy that you got Cathy Weaver as the special guest because I'm so excited to hear more from her. And now, please proceed and put across your point of view on
Okay,
how
great.
networking has evolved.
Thank you very much, Shaurya. And what is so beautiful today is that it was not planned like that, but all three of us
Yes,
are from the Happy Neighborhood Project, and we are also happy.
true,
Okay,
true.
and we also hope that we are making people happy. And as I see in the audience, I see Alka, I see Aditya, some of our own
Yes.
co-hosts from HNP are also there. So we are all there, and happy ourselves and making people happy. Right. So thank you so much, and thank you, Ravinder, for all your comments. So good. Now, I was wanting to take off from where Cathy said how we have connected people and how she has got to India, and she comes and she spends some time in the breakout room. She comes and uh, shares some wonderful experiences, connects people, gets connected, and then it is so multiplying. It is the growth is in geometrical progression. Now, we have another lady called Philomena, who is also now a mentor, and I met her in a breakout room, and then she we connected one to one on LinkedIn, on a Zoom call, sorry, and she connected me to 3 wonderful people which have taken my networking to a level which I could have never done on my own. So that is
Wow.
the power of networking, and I think it is phenomenal. I've been a good networker. I've also learned the art of networking formally in workshops, but what I'm learning here now in the HNP is a step above that. Okay, so that's wonderful. And we would love to see more people joining us. If you really want to be happy, spread happiness and grow your network meaningfully and purposefully, that you know what you are growing your network for and what are you going to achieve. So thank you very much, Cathy. I'm particularly very grateful to you for accepting our invitation and investing some wonderful time of yours for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me. I think this is so exciting to be able to share across the globe. I mean, think about that. Networking is universal. Networking is seriously universal. You go to a networking event, again, everything's online now. You go to a networking event in Germany, in the United Kingdom, in USA, in Canada, in India, and the topic is still the same. Now, how people work it from a standpoint of efficacy, there's the difference. What are they going to do when they meet you? Are you looking at the camera when you're on screen? Or are you looking here and all around? They think you're not paying attention to them. That's such a big key. And I see that happen a lot. You're looking at this, you're looking at that, and trying to get all this control panel stuff happening. That's marvelous. But when you look into the camera, people can see you. And that's the relationship building piece that we might be missing since we don't network in person now. But again, the advantage is incredible. You get to meet people in a different way. Networking for many people is they want to build their business, they want to share their brand, they want to increase their network, and perhaps they actually want to learn from professionals just like the two of you. That's a very big deal for a lot of people. If I just watch Sharia and Sushil while they're networking, I'll learn. That's literally what the ones smart ones would say. I really want to learn from you. And they're watching everything you do on the screen. Sharia, how you handle everything when you're the co-host for one of the India groups, they're watching you and going, I want to be that. I want to be her. And they're seeing how Sushil is the captain of both of these organizations and keeps people united. That's a gift. That's an impactful gift. And people just watch and think about that. They're really watching every single thing that we do. And if you want to build your business and share your brand with others, for me, the best way I have found to do that is networking. And now that it's pandemic, we are literally learning how to network in person, online instead of in person. That's the difference. But it's still effective. What do you do for a living? You can tell them, absolutely. But most of the time, I say, tell me about you. If you choose to talk about your business, that's lovely. But if you literally want to get into the heart of the person, tell me about you. And I say that a lot. And that really is a go-to for me. A lot of times when we were meeting in person, you hand someone your business card. So everyone takes a look at the business card. What does that say about you? Does it have your picture on it? Does it have your contact information? Does it have on there what you do for a living? If it does, you can talk about that. But if it doesn't have every single particular piece that you want to know, I see that you are involved in, tell me about that. And give the person a chance to share their experiences with you. And one of the big questions I ask everywhere I go, even now online, where else do you go for networking? When we were meeting in person, I would always say, where else do you go for networking? What other groups do you belong to? And they'd say, oh my gosh, I belong to this or this or this. I'd love to invite you to our next event. Bingo. Same thing with online networking. You have all these fantastic people on the screen. It's wonderful. The energy's amazing. You just can't wait to get up in the morning. And then every single time I would say, where else do you go for networking? Well, the good news is, as you both know, I'm dedicated to Happy Neighborhood Project because it's been a complete game changer for me as far as increasing my network. We have almost 80 weekly free events. Now, I'm here to tell you, if you even try to go to that many, you're going to be busy, busy, busy. But what happens with that is, if you go to 3 or 4 a week, now you do 3, 4, 5, or 10 follow-ups, which is a one-on-one opportunity to actually get to know the people in those groups. So now I'm going to go to these 3. Next week, I'm going to go to these 3. Next week, I'm going to go to these 3. And with that comes so much follow-up and so much opportunity to connect with the people and get to know them and what makes them tick. You can never, ever, ever say, I don't have any place to go for networking. There are choices, there are time zones, there are demographic, there are geographic. You can do anything in the Happy Neighborhood Project, and it's been a great fit for me. And once again, Sushil and Sharia, I would not have met you guys if it wasn't for Happy Neighborhood Project.
Absolutely. And in fact, the best is when you open Happy Neighborhood Project, you can see which is the next event. So it could be happening right now,
Yes,
it could be happening in the next half an hour, and you just have to click and join immediately, and
true.
you get a free Zoom ticket to fly into that country without any visa and passport.
There you go. Exactly right. And no time problems, I can tell you for sure.
On
No
this
travel
note,
time.
actually, Sushil sir, I have a question for you here, because Cathy very well spoke about how we can network and what's the importance of it. But this looks time consuming, So in this world where everything is so fast paced and you need to invest time in networking, how to manage that time and how to make most out of that time.
Beautiful.
So thank you very much. And whenever it comes to time management, I say certain things which people get little, you know, surprised by. When I say there's nothing called time management, there is nothing called time management. You
Okay.
can't manage time, because time management was, if I said, okay, today I'm going to do 23 hours of work because I've got 25 hours of work tomorrow. That was time management.
Yeah.
Or if I'm loving something, I'm on a beach and enjoying myself, and I slow down time so I can keep enjoying the beach. And when I'm in pain, I will hurry up with the time. That was time management. So time doesn't wait for that. That goes at a steady pace. What you manage is your life. What you manage is your work. So it is called life management and not time management. So I tell people in my workshops, let's understand this, that when we say time management, we actually mean life management.
That's beautiful.
Now, people say time is money. And I say, please, for heaven's sake, don't degrade time so badly. Time is not money, time is life. When I give you 5 minutes of my time, don't I give away 5 minutes of my life to you? And should I not be finding out whom do I give this life to? Whom do I give it to? Are they worthy of it? And whose time do I consume? So, when we understand the value, importance, and relevance, these three things, value, importance, and relevance of time, and then, like Shaurya asked, how do you find time for networking? So, yes, the first thing is prioritization. And prioritization, if not understood well, is quite misplaced. If I have a sequence of four things, then prioritize means put the fourth thing first, put the third thing second, and put the first thing fourth. I've only shuffled the sequence, but I've not saved any time. But if I follow what Rory Vaden calls the time focus funnel, where he says all the tasks that you have, the first thing is eliminate. So your prioritization starts by asking yourself, how many of these tasks are not contributing to my goal, not contributing to what I really want to do, and let me get them out of my list. So first step, eliminate. Second is automate. What you can't eliminate, then see, can I automate it? Can I send my emails in bulk? Can I do my bank transactions on ECS? Whatever I can automate so it's not consuming my time. So that is my second step. The third step is delegate. Find people who can do it for you, buy people's time. In a very simple term, when a lady has a domestic help or a maid servant, all that she has done is bought 8 hours of her time so that she can watch her TV and go to the beauty parlor. That's what she's done. So she's prioritized that I don't want to be washing utensils, that somebody else can do, and I can afford to pay for that. I will go and enjoy myself elsewhere in a kitty party or something like that. And she go and do networking, right? So, and the last thing is then do what you want to. Now, what you want to do, that is where prioritization, what gives me. So there's a rule of 80-20, which everyone knows. We most of the time will end up investing, and I don't say, that's another thing I always say, don't say spending time, say investing time. The reason is that our subconscious mind is so conscious about the words we use, it's very sensitive to them. So, the moment I say spend time, my subconscious mind says, oh, so this is an activity where time is going to fade away. It's going to be an expense, like in a balance sheet. Expense is something that's going and not going to come back. Invest is when I'm looking for a return. So the moment I say I'm going to invest 30 minutes with Shaurya, my subconscious mind says, what will I get from Shaurya? Which means now I'm looking for what meaningful conversations will I make with her that I will gain, I will learn something from her, she will connect me with somebody and things like that. So I normally, whenever I have a call like that, I will have my little, oh, 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 oh. Okay, so I'm just missing it. So I have a small little notebook. It's a very well designed, which I'll show you, and a small notebook like that where I'll write down my 6 things that I'm going to ask Shaurya, and I'm going to be making sure that I'm not wasting my time, nor am I wasting her time. Because if I do that, next time I ask Shaurya for 30 minutes, she'll say, sorry, I don't have. Right? So networking, you can find time by following some golden rules of time management. And I would like to leave with 2 very, very important messages for my viewers. Number 1 is any number of time management tips that somebody tells you are not going to work till you have 2 things very clear. One is time consciousness, which means, am I conscious about the value of time? Do I want to be the person who wants to save time? Because just tools will not do anything for me. I have to first be that person who wants to get the best out of my time. So that is point 1. The second tip, and I call it the mother of all tips on time management, is something called self-discipline. If I decide to do something and I don't do it, I decide to get up at 6 o'clock and I get up at 8 o'clock. Okay. The alarm rings and I put the snooze button on. Okay. I am never going to do anything because I'm not disciplined. I don't listen to myself. I decided to get up at 6, and then I'm okay to disobey myself and not even listen to my own instructions, which I gave to myself at night. You'll get up at 6. And then I say it's okay to sleep till 6:30. So I've given myself a message, not important to listen to, or not important to plan, or not important to implement your plan. And that is the weakening part. You have weakened yourself because you don't care about yourself. How will anyone else listen to you? So self-discipline is doing what you ought to do, even when you don't feel like doing it, and when nobody is watching you. So if time consciousness is clear and self-discipline is clear, then you will find time for everything that you want to do, because you'll balance it out. So that's my take on time management, Shaurya.
That was amazing, Sad. I mean, so many things out of what you said should be written down. And because I've had this conversation, the privilege of having this conversation with you before, I honestly have these written and I've put them in my office for my employees to see it as well, so that we can really make the best out of our time. Cathy, the next question that I have for you, and it's just come to my mind honestly when Brigadier Sushil Bhasin was talking. I was thinking that people consider networking to be something that will lead to immediate results, like a conversion, like a sales, and then they think, okay, we're meeting people to convert them into sales, and that's networking, which I feel isn't correct, right? And I would want you to elaborate on that. The next part of the question is, when you are actually networking and growing your network, how to manage that network? How do I stay in touch with them, and what do I do to make sure that they remember me? Because I'm meeting so many new people. So I would want to understand these to, it's actually the same question, but in two parts from
Yes.
you, if you can help me understand them better.
Absolutely. And I would certainly like to say, Sushil, I was writing down what you mentioned, the prioritization piece of eliminate, automate, delegate, and do what you want. We make time for what we feel is important. And just like the self-discipline piece and the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. 20% of the people do 80% of effective networking. And just like you mentioned, Sharia, what are we going to do with that time? And seriously think about that. People have expectation when they go into a networking event, whether in person or online. I'm going to sell 1 million of my widgets. And they are disappointed when everybody's not coming to them and saying, I need this, I need this, I need this right now. And that's what their expectation was. And then, of course, the next step to that is networking doesn't work. Well, I have found that what is your expectation? And for me, expectation is meeting new people and getting to know them. Now, the self-discipline piece for me, seriously, is I set my one-on-one calls for 30 minutes. And that is a very, I'm very driven. So I stick to my schedule rigidly all day long. And those are the things I have not found. In fact, when we were meeting in person and I would be here and then I would be there and I would be literally all over the city. And every time someone else would see me, they would say, you're everywhere. How do you do that? I want to follow you around. Well, to be honest with you, I have not found anyone yet who could follow me around because they gave up. I don't have the option to give up. If you have a business that you love and a passion that you want to share that business with the world, you don't have time to give up. And so the discipline piece for me is very rigid. And so if I set my one-on-one appointments for 30 minutes and all of a sudden, bing, the timer goes off, I have loved meeting with you today. I can't wait for our next appointment. Please forgive me as I have my next appointment now to go to. I do not want to disrespect the next person and be late for them. And that way they instantly have the anticipation of meeting with you one more time, of seeing you one more time, of finding out more about you one more time. Sometimes people are chatty, I guess you would say. And I love that piece because then I can kind of steer the conversation into either their business or what do you do? What does a day in the life of you look like? One of the questions I have asked of speakers, and I use this a lot, if I was in the room with Sushil and he is the speaker for this event, one of the questions I always ask is, what is something no one has ever asked you before that you would like to share with our viewers? What is something that no one has ever asked you before that you would like to share with our listeners? What does that look like? And that gives the speaker the opportunity to share whatever it's a driving force of their heart. If your passion is so huge and you want to meet people and network and sell 1 million of your something, there's so much work behind the scenes that goes into that. There's so much work behind the scenes that goes into that. People want to find out what makes you tick. Sharia, think about this. If there are 10 people at your networking event and every single one of them is in the same industry as you, who do I refer? Who would I say, I suggest you speak to Sharia. She is incredible, and she will find out exactly the perfect place for you to go to network and market your business. Expectation is such a big word. Impact is such a big word. What impact do you have on the people that you meet in your networking events? What expectation did you have to go there? And if you think you're going to sell 1 million of your something, that's probably not realistic. Maybe it could happen. In 14 years of doing this full time, that has not been my experience. And people always want to know, you're networking all the time. No, I'm actually not. I network in the effective places for visibility. And then the follow-up piece is obviously behind the scenes, not public. And that's the part they don't see. That's the time management part, the life management part, as Sushil was mentioning. Those are the priorities that I have. I want to get to know the people I just met in that breakout room because they are impactful to me, because I want to know what makes them tick. I think expectation is the driving force. And then what happens? We're disappointed. You know, that networking stuff you talk about all the time, it doesn't work. And instead of exploding, I say, tell me about that. So then I find out, just like we were mentioning earlier, they were going to every single networking event and passing out business cards and putting their name in the chat and doing all this stuff. And they didn't get to know one single person in there. Who was the person you met today that had the biggest impact on you? What? I don't know. I have a list of 2. I'd love to share that with you. I got to meet Sharia today. I got to meet Sushil today. Have you gotten to know those people and their heart and what makes them tick? We call it ROI here, return of investment. And just as Sushil was mentioning, the self-discipline and the investing of your time, for us, it's return of investment. And for me, the return of investment is to now have lifetime friends, lifetime compadres, lifetime business partners, lifetime colleagues. If you don't need or want my product or service, that's totally fine. But what if you know that one person who absolutely would be blessed by my product or service? If I had not met you, I could not have met them. What is that word? Networking. I never feel that any of this is a waste of time. And not everyone is as disciplined as I. And sometimes I drive my friends crazy with my schedule. But the biggest thing is, if this is what I want to accomplish today, and I do keep a list, and I want to make sure that I get this, and this done, my one-on-one appointments are 30 minutes. If we get to do a follow-up, that one also will be 30 minutes. And just as Sushil said, I keep a big notepad myself, and I always have a list of what I'm going to be asking and giving them the opportunity to speak. Once again, 2 ears, 1 mouth is very important to me. And I think that is impactful times a million, because I want to meet the people and get to know them that are in these massive breakout rooms. Look at India South that we got to do today. Oh my gosh, these are familiar faces to me now. They weren't familiar faces to me 2 months ago. Look what networking has done. We are making the world smaller, and I love that.
That was so
this is what I was
powerful,
looking for.
Cathy.
This
Yes.
is what I was looking for. This is that little thing which says, why should you have a thought pad? It's a thought tool which
Yes.
helps you
Yeah.
to capture your ideas. And this is something which I normally keep handy. A small little thing where you keep jotting down.
That's
And then
fabulous.
in my offline meetings, I do carry some of these. So instead of giving a business card, which also is, this has got all the business card information, I hand over this to people.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
That is actually a very smart branding activity if you talk to a brand strategist. That's what we do, you know.
It was
I make a lot of visiting cards, a lot of business cards that can be used as bookmarks. So, you know, they don't have information on the front. It's just like a really smart, quirky thing with like a string that you can use as a bookmark. So people don't throw it away. And this is exactly what, Brigadier has done here, as well. You would want to keep this. This is like a giveaway. This is like a small giveaway to everyone who meets you. That's beautiful. So
Yes.
that's very smart. That's very smart. I have one thing to say here, and I want to mention it, especially because we have so many people from H&P here. When I invite people to H&P, I always make them understand that if you want to come for direct sales, if you want to convert a client today, please don't become a part of this network. All right, we're creating a community here. We're calling it family for a reason. And yes, you will benefit out of this. but not with an intent of finding clients, with an intent of meeting new people and trying to know them better, and they trying to know you better. Like you said, Kathy, who knows that, someone I know needs your services. So it's not always direct. And I just wanted to reiterate it, and also, kind of give an example of how I invite people to HNP, making it very clear that you're not coming here for sales. That's not what we do here. So what I would, what's popping in my head right now is to understand, could you tell us a few ways in which we can be sustainable, of time in today's world? And that's a question for, the two of you. Anyone can take it up. Say 5 ways in which we can be sustainable of time in today's world.
Sustainability.
But see how many people are loving you. Just see on the screen.
I love them all back. I love Alkaji the most.
That is so beautiful. And look at that. The partnership that you have created with Sushil as your captain and all of the co-hosts together, that is the family. And once again, for me, sustainability is green living, eco-friendly lifestyle, no more chemicals, no more plastic. Now, that being said, when I started my Kangen water business in 2008, just like you were saying, Sharia, I'm going to go to my first Chamber of Commerce event and sell 1 million machines. Well, I found out pretty quickly that is not how it works. I have a product that everyone on the planet needs, but do they know they need it yet? And so what does sustainability look like to me? I have to make the most value of my time so I have the most effective use of my time, because as Sushil mentioned, it's life management. If I go to a Chamber of Commerce event, that just took 2 or 3 hours out of my sustainability day. How am I ever going to get that back? So the impact of that 2 or 3 hours had to be connecting with 2 or 3 people, which now turns into 2 or 3 one-on-one appointments, which now turns in someone trusting me enough to share my message of healthy water with their friends and family. So for me, it's a sustainability issue of trust, a sustainability issue of saving the planet, and a sustainability of eco-friendly lifestyle. And all of that work together. But I'm here to tell you, it is not instant. And the funny thing is, Sushil, I think you'll love this too. People have said to me before, oh my gosh, you're just an overnight success. And I always say, yes, I am. And it only took 14 years. Think about that. I'm an overnight success, and it only took 14 years because they don't see the backstory. They don't see the, oh my gosh, that didn't work. Try again. Do something different. Punt and pivot. Can you imagine if everybody on the planet counted on in-person networking to build their business? Is that sustainable now? How on earth would we do that again? Even though some of the groups in our community are meeting in person again, the numbers are not up anymore at all. The numbers are not up. They are not well attended at this time. And so everyone that has been effective networking, use of life management system, consciousness, sustainability, everyone that is networking online now, how impactful has that been to your network? And that has been a very big deal for me. It really has been phenomenal to be able to share the message, spread the word, understand the trust factor, and realize the impact and expectation of that meeting. I think this is huge. Sushil mentioned at every single India North, India South meeting I've attended, literally, do you know what you mention every time, sir? You always say family. This is not an HNP community. This is an HNP family. And I have seen that firsthand. And I think the family with the family builds trust, sustainability of time, life management, all the systems that you teach are magnificent. And I really am thrilled to be a part of this organization.
Kathy, I feel like a community supports you, but a family really holds your hand and helps you get where you want to. And so I think we've started calling it a family because it's gone beyond just support. It's
Yes.
become so much more than that. You're really holding someone's hand to uplift them, and that's what family does. So with that, Sushil sir, would you want to say something about sustainability in time? Would you want to talk about it?
Well, yes, I will say that it has become so important today, and it's already late. We should have woken up to it earlier. But if we don't do something about it now, it'll be too late. It'll be too late. So it is very, very important that we uh, absolutely get conscious of sustainability. Otherwise, our own children who are small now will probably not even have a planet to breathe well. And like you go to a gym to exercise, you may be going to breathing chambers to breathe properly. That may be the stage. So I think it's high time that we wake up. I think there's already a wake up call, but people are still sleeping. They are not prepared to listen to that. And I now see my daughter getting into this sustainability, and she's so particular because she feels she can sort of somehow see that her little baby boy now, no longer little, but of course, uh, why is not this going? Just a minute. Yeah, uh, yeah. So, yeah, what I was saying, that it has become very important for all of us to see the future. And when you see the future of our children and the way they will be challenged to live a comfortable life, I think sustainability is very, very, very important. Probably in today's life, I think the number one priority.
That's beautiful.
That
That's
is,
that's
that absolutely is. And so correct in like so many ways. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us, Brigadier Sushil. Thank you. All right, I think at the top of my head, these were the few questions that I could think of, and I actually wanted you to talk about. And I'm so glad that you could cover all the points. Do we have any questions? Anyone in the audience who wants to ask something to our wonderful guests here? We would love to answer. We can take a few minutes to answer any questions if you have. Otherwise, we'll have the parting cards, and we'll end this amazing session with beautiful insights that we had today. Anyone has a question? But we do have a lot of wonderful comments here. We see people understanding networking in such a beautiful manner,
one thing
and
I would
it's
love
really
to,
really nice
Sharia,
to
one thing
see
I would
these
love to
comments.
mention,
Yes.
Brigadier Sushil, if this is okay, I wanted to talk briefly about LinkedIn. I
Sure, sure, yeah.
I have found
Yes, please.
that most of the
Just
people,
1 minute, just 1 minute, Kathy. In the meantime, while Kathy is telling us something about LinkedIn, and I know she's going to give you an amazing, amazing information and insights, can you please write your questions in the chat box so that after that we can answer your questions if you have them? Thank you, and over to you, Kathy.
thank you so much. One of the things I have found in the Happy Neighborhood Project, especially, is in the olden days, people had a business card in their hand and they would see it, look at it, and maybe go to some of the social media platforms and find you. Well, now since everything's online and we have the ability with QR codes and put your information in the chat and your links and things like that, most of the time, people in the Happy Neighborhood Project go to LinkedIn first to look at you, check out your business, etc. So what I have found in some of the friends that I have connected with, they don't have a LinkedIn banner. That's the screen behind their profile picture. Their profile picture no longer looks like how they look on the screen. I don't even know if I have the right person. It doesn't even look like you. Those two things are the first thing people notice visually. And then they want to know certainly your name, After that, your power statement. What is that? The first thing people see is your name, and right directly under that is your power statement. And I instantly think every time you make a comment on LinkedIn, those first 3, 4, 5 words are what shows on every comment. This is not the time for, I am a fabulous somebody who loves to help people with something. That's not that time. That's in the about section. The power statement is your impact statement, the boom that you want people to know you for. And that's the piece I have seen would be a dynamic opportunity for people to actually spruce up their LinkedIn profile. A banner, a profile picture that's current, your name, of course, and a power statement. Those are just vital. You have 240 characters in that one section to be able to say, boom, Kangen water rep. And the next thing you know, what is this going to be? You're going to go to the Kangen water rep. Right below that says, what do you guys think? Happy Neighborhood Project. Then I have my books listed in that section. You can elaborate 2,700 characters in your about section. That's when you can say, I help people with sustainability and green living, eco-friendly, chemical-free lifestyle. That's when you can elaborate to that degree. Then, as we talked about today at one of our events, what does your audio message say and what does your video message say? Your audio message is 10 seconds to be able to literally say name pronunciation if you wish. But I have found that oh my gosh, I'd love to invite you to happyneighborhoodproject.com. Can't wait to see you at our next event. Boom, 10 seconds. Then for the video message, when you click on someone's profile picture, it'll take you to 30 seconds of their video message. What does that mean? You have an opportunity to talk about your company, certainly about your networking events. For us, of course, it's Happy Neighborhood Project, and an opportunity to share a link on that video message. But now when people come to your page to check you out, they instantly see, oh my goodness, I want to get to know that person better. And even bigger than that, from a standpoint of growing our network, I know someone who needs to meet you. I seriously know someone who needs to meet you. I'm going to connect the two of you. There is nothing finer than that, to know that someone, maybe that you just met, already trusts you enough because your audio message speaks volumes, your video message speaks volumes, and people can actually feel your heart. I know someone who needs to meet you. I'm going to connect you to one of my colleagues. Absolute amazing opportunity to make the network bigger and make our world smaller. And thank you so much again, Sushil, for having me. And Sharia, you are a fantastic MC, my friend.
Thank you so much, Cathy. You're very kind. Thank you so much. With that, do you have any parting thoughts, Brigadier Sushil Bhasin? Would you want to say something before we end the session?
No, I would just say that thank you for investing your time, and to the people who were here now. And I know in India it's late, so we didn't have as many people as I thought they would be. But I know that many, many more are going to watch the recording. So thank you for investing your time. And in your comments, now or later, let us know whether you got the return on the time invested.
We
So
do have one question.
ROI is something we all know. It's a return on your investment, which is a financial return on a financial investment. But what about the return on your time? So we call it ROTI, return on time invested. Did you get that?
I
So
love
let me use
ROTI.
it. So I hear somebody saying great tips.
We do have a question. Yeah. Aditya has a question. A tip for effective networking with intent. How would you answer that, Sushil?
Sorry, come again?
Aditya asked a question about one tip for effective networking with intent.
So I would just sum up by saying that be absolutely clear about what you want, what you expect from your network, and then build a system with all the tips that we have talked about. Build a system to make sure that you implement what you plan, because people do plan and not really implement. And I also say that the results don't come from ROI, they don't come from ROTI, they come from another ROI, and that is return on implementation.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
love
you,
those
Shauna. Thank you.
inputs.
Absolutely.
And
I
Yeah,
thank
love
you
and
how
very much,
fun you
Cathy.
make your inputs, Sushil. So they become so fun. You make an acronym out of it, or you make them look so exciting, sound so exciting. I love it. Like you would say the same thing like anybody else sometimes, but you would say it in a manner that it sounds so interesting and so different. So that I give it to you for sure. So thank you so much. And
absolutely.
this has been a great session, friends. Thank you so much for joining. Everyone who joined on various platforms, thank you so much. We had a lot of fun discussing how networking is crucial. It's important. How we can network better, how we can use our time better. So there were a lot of takeaways. And I would want to like very quickly sum it up. So we talked about why we need networking, and we all know why, but we had to reiterate it to make sure that we set the ground for you. After that, we had to understand how to use our time better to network and how to make our time to network. With For that, I think you should actually follow Sushil sir also on Instagram. He shares some amazing tips on how you can make the most out of time, also on YouTube. So if you want to understand that more, how you can delegate, how you can prioritize every all the tips that he just shared, you can know more about them on his social media handles. And then we talked about how networking is a process. It's not a one day thing. We are not trying to do marketing or sales here. It's more than that. It's about creating a community. It's about knowing people better and adding value to their lives. So we need to be clear about what we expect when we step out to network, right? So that we need to understand. After that, we talked about sustainability in time, and how in world sustainability is important to keep going and give a better future to our coming generations. Thank you so much for those wonderful takeaways. I am blessed that I got this opportunity to host this event for all of you today. And thank you so much for joining. Like Sushil said before, it's late here in India, but we're happy to see so many people join at various platforms. Thank you so much. Thank you
That's
very much
awesome.
for being here.
Thank you for
And
having
thank
me. I
you,
had a great
Cathy.
time.
Cathy, thank you very much.
Yes,
Instantly, when I asked Cathy, can we do a LinkedIn live? And I don't think she even batted an eyelid, and she said, of course we can do it. So very,
how
very kind of
sweet is
you.
that?
Let's
Good
just say
luck.
this, my friend. When Sushil Bhasin asks you to do something, the answer is always yes.
Absolutely. I second that. When he asked me to host today, I was like, let's do it. So you cannot say no to
Okay,
him because he does it
so
with so much of love and passion.
that is when you say that my answer is yes. Now let's have your question. Okay. But I will just end up with a very small joke that I'm reminded of. In the army, we have an appointment called quartermaster, and this quartermaster is the one who has all the the clothing, equipment, food, everything that is supplied to you is handled by this person. So he's a very important person. So one officer went in, he saluted, he said, "Good morning, sir." He said, "No." He said, "Sir, I said good morning." He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you asked for something."
Yeah, that was the anticipation.
So this is the opposite of that.
And the
Oh.
answer is no.
That is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. I think that'll be our cue, perfect note to end on. We're all happy. So that is what we need. Being happy is the key. So thank you so much, Cathy, for being here, giving us your time, investing your time here. And thank you so much, Brigadier Sushil Bhasin, for being here and facilitating all of this, this amazing session that we had today. Thank you so much. Thank Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Shaurya. Thank you for being a perfect host. You did a great job. And I think you really brought
Thank
in
you. The
life.
pleasure is all mine.
You brought in life to this, the energy and the entire flavor of the conversation has gone up wonderfully because of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
And
so much, sir.
thank you to Aditya, Alka,
Yes.
Lynn, Leena, uh,
We have a lot of other people, but I can't see their names.
Naveen. No, I'm just scrolling. Naveen and there's somebody LinkedIn user I don't know, and Ravindra Pokhale, all
Asif.
of you, Asif, and Janvi, who came in the beginning. We didn't see her later. Wellington, David. So thanks to all of you for being there, because without you, we were to do nothing. So,
Yeah.
so if
True.
somebody keeps saying and there's nobody to listen to him, the communication is not done.
True.
Thank you so much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.